So my son, we decided, wasn't going to be what we call one of those team players, okay? He was going to do some individual sports. And he got into this sport where you go and you race 20-inch bicycles, like a motorcycle motocross event, but you pedal. And the fans all yell at the same time, pedal, pedal, pedal. That's the cry every BMX parent has. Anybody involved in BMX or know of the sport? Okay. Well, there's some different and unique things that happen with BMX, okay? BMX has a beginning, the start, and it also has a finish. During the course of the event, you will see from the start, they start on a hill, and they go down a hill, and they overcome what's called obstacles, okay? They overcome obstacles. And they tell you, they have a riders' meeting in the beginning before the event happens. When you reach an obstacle, when you encounter an obstacle, if you're the first one over an obstacle, if we have a crash before everyone has reached the first obstacle, we'll restart the race. But some of the riders don't see them as obstacles. Okay, we'll get into that. So they start. They have a plan. Every racer that's in the gate right here has got a plan. He's deciding how they want to run their race. Inside, outside, depending on their gate start or where they're at. Are they good at the starting point? Are they good on the track? Or are they good finishers? Okay, think about ourselves for a few minutes about that. Are we good starting out of the gate? Are we good once we're on the track, or are we good finishers? Can we be good at all three of those things? Some of the better racers are, some of the better business people are, but everyone can't be good at everything. When you start getting into the stone and drift into the stone world, you have to be good at everything, okay? Think about it. I mean, a stone care company, to get good, responsible clientele, most of the time they're more affluent than some of the other clientele we might work for when it's carpet or upholstery or ceramic tile and grout or one of those kinds of venues. They're a little bit more affluent most of the time because I don't see a lot of stone being put in trailer homes. I don't. Because you can't drive it across the road and down the street without breaking the stone that you've installed. Right? Plus it's heavy and it costs more than everything else. You don't see it at the low-income apartment complexes. Where do you see it? Yeah, high-end places, typically high-end places. Okay, and people who have shopped for this with the same general principles when she shops for stone that she used when she shopped for her wedding gown. As Doyle mentioned with the wedding idea, you know, this little girl's been thinking about this since she was 8 years old. Okay, this is what the day's going to look like. This is what my husband's going to look like. You know, this is how the day's going to go. These are the flowers I'm going to have. This is the dress I'm going to have. They know what it is. They don't know the exact copy until they put their eyes upon it. And that's exactly how they select their stone. It's unique. It's different. It speaks to them. It's bold. It's different than what everybody else has. And that's where they go to it. So we as professionals, we're in the starting gate with this customer. We have to have a plan. What are we going to do? We're going to weave inside when they weave outside. How are we going to counter some of the things? How are we going to listen to some of their questions? So they have a plan. They're in the gate and they're concentrating. Now, when my son got involved in this sport, we were very concerned about the other riders that were around his age. He was 9 when he started. We were very concerned about the other riders of his age because we saw a lot of tattoos. We saw a lot of odd colored hair, like green and purple and pink and some of the other non-natural colors that we saw. Everything was involved or around or involving dirt. And I don't mean, you know, like dirt that we deal with, which is good dirt. I'm talking about just everything was dirty, dusty, and the people were not people that we would have met in any other way than at the BMX track. Okay? And I'm trying to be as nice as I can about that. But let me just say that though, these were some of the most wonderful people I've ever encountered. But we would have never encountered each other if it weren't for the BMX track. They were automobile mechanics who were, by the way, very helpful to us because they're telling me about certain things you could do to make the child's bike a little faster. I'm not the handiest guy in the world. I'm just going to say that flat out. I'm not sure which end of the wrench you actually hold and which part you actually turn. Okay, that's how bad it is. And they would help me with some of those little things and changing their gear ratios and some of that to get more They had it all figured out. How many turns of the crank of the pedal, you'll go 16 more feet if you have one more tooth in the gear. Okay, way beyond my capacity for caring, to be honest with you. But I watched these kids, and we went to a meeting of this track, all the track officials, because one of the coolest things that I saw, and I'm kind of a gadgety type guy, they had these headset walkie-talkies that these officials would walk around with, and I thought, it'd be kind of cool to wear one of those. I wonder what they're talking about. And so we're at this meeting, and it's a track meeting, and they're looking for volunteers to be part of the board of directors and everything, and my wife's hand goes up in the air, and I'm like, what are you doing? You scratching something? Is there, reaching for something on the top shelf? What? She goes, no, I think that we should volunteer to help out at the track. And I said, well, who's this we that you're talking about? Well, obviously, you and I. So we got involved in the process, and we got to understand some of the challenges that some of these riders face. So I got to work on the track, got to wear a walkie-talkie, and I became what's called the stager. Okay, what I had to do in my job is stand at the top of the starting hill and take all the little kids and get them into the right spots on the gate, because they're all numbered, and each moto that they go around, there's 3 heats and then there's a main event. I have to make sure that these 8, 9, sometimes 5, sometimes 25, sometimes 65-year-old riders were in the right place. Somebody had to coordinate the effort, and that was my job as a volunteer. In business, we have similar efforts, don't we? We have to have coordination. I loved what Ken was talking about with some of the things that he does at his company, with the coordinated efforts of this person and that person, and John's company with some of the coordinated efforts of what these people do and how their business is brought out. These are important things. These are the most important things if you're dealing with stone care people. Because those folks, here's what I've learned. The longer the driveway, the less excuses you get to make. The more guardhouses you have to go through to get to the end user, the less excuses you can make. You can't say, gee, my truck never leaked like that before. I didn't realize you had a small dog that was going to lick up all that antifreeze. That was a problem, right? I didn't realize that it was going to drip some oil on your beautiful paver driveway, or on the perfectly white concrete that you've lined your home with. We didn't realize that was going to happen.